Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're gonna go ahead and, well, I guess I've already done it. I saw this post on Instagram and it was like, I think every artist should have a Miku designed, a Hatsune Miku design. And I was like, okay. So I decided I was gonna make a design for Hatsune Miku in my style. Initially I was just gonna draw her as she was, and I was like, that's kind of boring though. It's not technically like a Miku design if I just like draw her as she normally appears. So I did a couple of explorations for what she would look like in my style. This one was like a not like fully rendered, but like I put in the blue to show like the lines that would be the black lines and stuff. I didn't really like this one too much, and then I did this one and I liked it a little bit better, but I felt like something was off with her face. And so after that I went and I did this smaller face here to see if I liked little rounder eyes better, and I did. And so as I was doing those, I did this little design of like a boot, and I put a little screw on the side, and I was like, because I was experimenting with whether I wanted to draw her feet a little bit chunkier than I normally do with shoes, and I was like, that kind of looks like a robot leg though. And I was like, ooh, what if I made my Miku a robot? I don't know if other people have made Miku robots. I very specifically did not look up if other people made Miku robots because I did not want to subconsciously put their design into my design. So I did not look up any Miku robots. After I finished this video and I post it, then I will look up Miku robots and be like, oh, I didn't even think of that. But before I didn't look up any Miku robots just so I could, just keep my own design, right? And just not have any other sort of design type of ideas going off of that. I did look up some references for robots, and I did look up a Miku reference, and I did take some inspiration from, what's it called? This ball jointed doll figurine of her, which is why I decided to make these like little ball joints down here kind of. And then so when I was designing her as a robot, I gave her ponytails, her pigtails, these like hinges, and I did these like little like, they're sort of like cutouts. If you guys seen ball jointed dolls, they have like cutouts where their arms kind of slot into each other for like sliding into each other so that they can like bend their arms and stuff. So that's what these little parts are here. And then I was like, I'll give her some lines on her face just to like push that android design. Her pigtails screw into her head. I took her bangs are already in 3 sections, so I was like, it's really easy to shift that into like a design for like a robot. It's just like 3 sheets of metal on her head, right? And then I decided that her arms, her sleeves, are actually part of her arms. So she's not wearing clothes. Her arm is like the sleeve. So like the hand is gonna come out of, it's like the whole thing is like a cone, and then the hand just comes out of the bottom of the cone. And the same thing with the skirt. Her skirt is typically pleated, and so I made it like a pleated design, but I didn't have like the zigzags that are typically there for like a pleated skirt. I just made it like one large cone, and then her legs come out of the cone at the bottom, if that makes sense. And then I decided I wanted her feet to be big, right? And then for the tie, I was like, I don't know what to do for the tie. So I made it into these little segments, and I didn't like that. And so I thought about it some more, and then I came up with this final design right here. This is what we're actually going to be coloring today. So yeah, this is the final Miku design that we're going to be coloring today. So you see me having the more of the ball joints since her arms are bent, you can actually see the balls, and this is where they slide in right there to show that sort of ball jointed design. And then also for her knees, it has those little balls there too. I made her boots and feet bigger because I really like the chunky shoe design, but I felt like I was drawing the legs too thin and it was making it look off. So I made I made the calves thicker. And it also kind of harkens back to XJ9 or Jenny from My Life as a Teenage Robot. I looked up her as inspiration also just because I felt like her color scheme, the blue. I know Miku is technically like a greenish sort of blue, and XJ9 is more of like a true like light blue, sky blue type color, but they had a similar vibe to me. So I used XJ9 partially as inspiration too. And then I came up with this design for the tie. So I guess it's more like buttons than it is like an actual tie. Like you could push these down. I don't know why you'd want to push those down, but it's just like to look cool, I guess. And so yeah, that was the and then for the pigtails, I got rid of this hinge design because I was like, I don't know, it doesn't really work for me. it looks a little bit too similar to like her arms and stuff. And like it's more like on a hinge, like the door is on a hinge. And it took me a long time to figure out how to draw the hinges. And I was like, the hinge is actually going to be behind her ponytail, not in front. And so I was like, I only need to draw the tube in the center. And so it's like her ponytail, I guess, folds up. I don't know why you would need it to fold up, but it does. I tried to put like a design philosophy where it would make sense for the robot. And then I was like, this robot design doesn't make any sense, because if her arms are like ball jointed, like even dolls that are ball jointed still have limited mobility. And I was like, it's fine, it works, it's okay. It's done. Like I tried to put like practical thought into it, and then I was like, it doesn't have to be practical, it's just a drawing. But still my mom was like, but it has to make sense, it has to make sense. And I guess when you design things, you should try to make them make sense. And so I was trying to make it make sense, but then I was also like, if you have a hinge, right, you're supposed to see the screws on the other side, and I didn't draw the screws. And I thought about that after, and I was like, fuck, I didn't draw the screws on the other side, but it's okay, it's okay. I think this is a good try for like a first pass for Robot Miku. I don't know if other people have drawn Robot Mikus, I'm sure they have, and maybe they're better, but I actually really like this drawing. I think it came out really cute. And so I've taken several pictures of it, right? And I've done a scan of the line art. So we're going to color it. I've done some color studies for what I wanted to do. They're right over here. So I did some practice with the colors. So this is what the colors are going to look like. Hopefully, right, we can get it done and it'll look nice. But if it doesn't look nice, that's okay, because I have a scan and everything. So if I want to color it again, I can. It just might be ruining my sketchbook. But I've done a lot of practice because I was like, I really like this drawing. I really like the sketch came out. And I really like the way the line art came out. So hopefully this drawing's going to come out good, you guys. Okay, so we're just going to get started and we're going to color it now. Wish me good luck.
Okay, so jumping right into the coloring. This took me for fucking ever, you guys. If I count from like concept art to sketch to line art to finished piece, this took me about 5 hours, which is a long time for literally just one video that I sped up literally so fast. Just the coloring itself took me about an hour. Yeah, it took me about an hour. And so I really had to speed it up and cut it down significantly. So yeah, that was fun. And the reason why the coloring took so long is because I was taking this sort of back and forth approach to get the closed parts of her body to actually look metallic. So I'm not like an artist who draws a lot of metal just because like I don't know. I never do draw metal. I mostly draw people. And you know what? People typically are not really super covered in metal, believe it or not. They could be if I was drawing like armor and stuff, but I don't draw armor. Okay. I don't even draw robots. This is the first robot I think I've ever drawn. Nope, that's not true. I drew another robot before a long time ago, but she wasn't really super robotic in any sense. She was more sort of android-like, and her body was just gray. So technically my first ever true drawing of a robot android type thing, which is like cool for me, and it's Hatsune Miku, which is also cool for me, I guess. Just so you guys know, I don't know anything about Miku. I know that's probably like really like something against me as like nerd geek culture, is that I don't know anything about Miku. I'm going to tell you guys a story, is that my sister was super into like Vocaloid and stuff growing up, and as a younger sister, I had the responsibility to hate everything that my sister liked. So if my sister liked something, I pretty much avoided it like the plague. I only got into Dragon Ball as an adult, because as a kid my sister liked Dragon Ball and I was like, ugh, fuck that, it looks like it sucks because you like it, you know, just those bratty little kid things. And so my sister was into Vocaloid, and so I thought it was super lame just because she liked it. So I had to break that sort of stigma for myself. I've heard some Vocaloid songs, not super my thing, but if you like it, that's chill. And I actually don't know even a single one of Miku songs. I guess there's that one trending one where she goes like Miku Miku Beam. I've heard part of that song, but only like in reels and like TikToks and stuff, so I don't really know any Miku songs. I just know that people like super love Miku, which is really great. I think that's super cute. I don't understand why, but I feel like if I jumped deep into like the lore and like her music and like all of her merch, I also think part of it is just she has a really cool design. Whoever designed Miku, I hope they get like a shit ton of royalties, dude, because she is like so huge, and I feel like she's huge everywhere now. It's like the same person who like, well, I guess, I don't know, the people who, I don't know, she's like an icon. So I feel like there's so much Miku merch, and like she makes music and she goes on concerts and stuff. Like whoever designed her, I hope they're rolling in bucks. Or maybe she was designed like a company and not like by an individual person. It's like it was a team of 40 artists working day and night for 40 days and they created Miku. I don't know. But whoever it was, she does have a really cool character design, and I feel like that's probably why she took off as like the Vocaloid, but I don't know. Also, I think she has a really cute color palette. I mean, like the black, the gray, the green, all of it together is just like super striking. So like all parts of her like design is just super cool. I mean, I feel like maybe the fashion is like super early 2000s, but that's because she is from the early 2000s. I'm pretty sure she was either early 2000s or late 90s. But yeah, she's like a, I don't know, an idol. She's really cool. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know much about Miku. I just think her design is cool, and so I thought it would be fun to design her as a robot. And so when it came to the coloring of this piece, it was not, I wouldn't say it was hard. No, I wouldn't say it was hard. It was just a lot of blending back and forth, which is why it sucked ass cutting the video down. And I even gave up part of it. I was just like, just speed it up. I mean, it's going to be sped up so fast. Like, it's not even going to be noticeable, the breaks that I take in between, like, switching between markers, just because it's sped up so fast. But I did have to go back and forth a lot. And then towards the end, I was like, I don't have to go back and forth so much. I can just lay it down the flat, like, the darker color, and then go mid-tone, and then go lightest color. I was doing it for each individual, like, piece of her plating or whatever, and I was like, I did not have to do that, but I was doing it that way because I like to waste time, I guess. So yeah, I pretty much only used, how many colors did I use? I think only 12 for like the whole piece, because the colors for her boots and like the black parts of her outfit, quote unquote outfit, it was only 4 colors. I decided to use cool grays for this because since she is blue or like bluish green, I felt like cool tone or blue tone grays would go better. It would make it seem more cohesive. I feel like if I went in with warm grays, I feel like it would have thrown off the balance of the piece, but that's just me. You guys know how I feel. I like warm grays the best. The darkest gray that I used on this though was C8. So if you guys are ever like, well, should you, well, actually that's not true. The darkest I used was C10, which is, it was just pretty dark, but it's still not black. If I had used black on this, you guys would be able to notice. So you can make black without actually using the color black. And I even only use C10 sparingly, like really on like the edge where I felt like the darkest shadow would be. And I feel like it's not even super noticeable. So yeah. And then for her, so yeah, that's for the blacks. And then for the blues slash greens, I feel like I did not do a good job picking those colors out. I feel like the mid-tone, there were actually 4 colors I used for the greens. And then halfway through, I realized I didn't need 4. I only needed 3. And so I was like, but then I was like, they're not blending out together in a way that I feel like looks nice. And you kind of see it when I do her pigtails. I do her pigtails all the way at the end just because I was kind of going back and forth on how I wanted to shade them. Because the way I was shading the rest of her body, it was like sort of like accidentally making them curved. Like for her legs, the way I shaded it, it makes sense for like the shine of the light to be in the center because they're like curved. But then for her skirt, I also did that. And I shouldn't have done that because it makes like the skirt looked curved, which I guess it is, so maybe that makes sense. But I kind of wanted the skirt to look more like flat sheets of metal. Like if I had to Google for reference flat sheets of metal, and the way that the shine is typically more horizontal than it is vertical. I feel like vertical is more for like cones and stuff, and then for a flat sheet of metal it's more horizontal. I hope this is making sense, like the shine for a flat piece of metal. I hope this makes sense to you guys. Anyway, sorry that the video cut off while I was doing her boots. I don't know what it was. My camera shut off after like 44 minutes or something. I don't usually record video for 44 minutes in a row. Usually I tap out at 20, but sometimes it is longer. And I feel like my video's been cutting off. I think it's because I have all my videos on my phone, and I need to move them over to the storage that I have, and I haven't done that for like 2 months. So I think I need to do that, so that way my camera will stop cutting off and losing all my footage. Anyway, now we're doing her shirt slash body, I guess. The shirt was actually the hardest part for me because I was like, okay, how am I supposed to think of this part of her body as metal if I drew it like it's a shirt on her body instead of her body being the shirt? And you know what? I don't think I did it right, but that's okay. I tried my best. It looks shiny, but does it look like it's her body and not just a shirt that's over her that's shiny? I don't know. I think I kind of failed that part, but that's all right because it's actually a very small part of the body. Anyway, so yeah. And then for the tie, you already saw me color the tie a long time ago, but for the tie, I didn't put any shine on the tie, and now I'm kind of like, why does it look so flat in comparison to the rest of the body? It should have been shiny too. You know, we live and we learn. That's all we can do. And I only used 4 colors on the shirt also. I used cool 7 the odds. So for her legs, I used the cool grays that were the evens. And then, so I used CG 10, 8, 6, and 4. And then for her shirt, I used CG 7, 5, 3, and 1. So if you guys want to recreate those colors, there you go. And then so I'm just doing her hair now. So like I was talking about before, I was trying to reference thin sheets of metal, like flat sheets of metal to color in the hair, because they are supposed to be these thin sheets of metal. I mean, I could have drawn them as like pieces of plastic, but I was like, no, I couldn't even think of it as being plastic. So, and also they're held together by hinges, so how would that be plastic held together by hinges? You know, that would make any sense. Anyway, so I couldn't do it as the same as the way I've been doing it with like the legs and the skirt and stuff, and so I tried to do it more horizontal than vertical this time. But the colors that I had already picked that I used for the rest of the piece, for the rest of her hair, and for the rest of the greens/blues in her outfit, they didn't really blend together very well. And so I was like, okay, instead of trying to blend it out and it not working, we're just going to go ahead and stylize it a little bit more so where it's not blended on purpose. This is something you guys can do too. If you know your art supplies are not going to work in a way that you typically would use them, change the way you use them and make it a choice instead of making it a mistake. Okay? I did do a lot of planning for this drawing because I did not want it to turn out bad, because I really liked this drawing. I thought the drawing came out good. And you guys, I always tell you guys, you got to plan before you do your coloring, plan before you do your drawing, and it'll come out better than if you didn't plan. And I'm really glad I did some planning beforehand, because it actually came out pretty good today. So yay, a proponent for actually practicing what we preach this time. I actually did it first before I went in guns a-blazing, and it turned out better for it, okay? So for the final part of the coloring, I just did her skin. I knew I wanted to keep her skin the same like as the paper. I could have gone in with like a sort of color that would like make it look more like a skin tone, but I felt like if she was a robot, there would be no point in giving her like a human skin tone. So I just left her skin white. I just shaded it in with 2 blue colors, just so that way I could keep it looking a little bit inhuman that way. I'm still coloring it I'm just coloring the hinges here. The hinges, I decided to make them black just because, I mean, I guess I could have made them a different color, but I feel like hinges are not supposed to really stand out, and I didn't really want to make them stand out, so I just made them black. It made the most sense. Yeah, so here you see me going in and coloring her skin tone. It didn't take me very long, just because her outfit is very cute. And it also doesn't expose very much skin. When you look at it, you're like, oh, but she's got a skirt on and her arms aren't covered. But literally, most of her body is covered, if we're being honest. You know? And then I went in and I did her face. I feel like I added a little bit too much blue to her face. But say lovey, you live and you learn. I made her top lip blue. Just because for a second I was going to make it black. And then I was like, no, let's just go with blue. I tried blue first to see if I liked it before I went in. Because it would be easier to add blue over black than it would be to add black over blue than it would be to add blue over black. So I just started with the blue, and I was like, okay, the blue looks nice. So I just went with the blue. And then after that, I decided to color in her eyes. And maybe this is going to be a little bit controversial, but in the concept art, her eyes were dark and the irises were light. And so I decided to make the inside, like the sclera of her eye, I went for it to be black. And you guys can tell me whether or not that was a mistake. I did it, and I was like, do I like this as much as I liked it before? And I was like, well, I think it is distinctly more of a robotic look. I feel like if I just left the whites of her eyes white, she would have looked a little bit more human. And I wanted her to look like a robot, you know? And so yeah, and then I just went in with the white highlights, add a little bit life back to her eyes after I colored them in. Yeah, and that's pretty much the whole piece. I hope you guys liked it. I had a lot of fun doing it. It actually got me out of my comfort zone a little bit, since this is a robot drawing and I don't really draw robots, and I don't really draw Miku ever either. So thank you guys for spending this time with me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!